So good afternoon. First and foremost, I want to thank all of the officials that are with us today to show solidarity for the horrible event that occurred on this past Friday, and to share our thoughts and our prayers along with the victim that is still recovering from his injuries at a nearby hospital. I just want to provide a brief update on the victim. The victim is still listed in critical condition and has gone through another surgery today. I don't have any further information on his condition past that. So again, we still want to offer our thoughts and our prayers in his recovery to this point. So I want to reiterate the events that occurred on this past Friday to give everyone sort of a clear timelines and where we are in our current investigation and what we were able to discover, somewhat of when we were able to discover that information, so that it provides a clearer picture of the events that occurred on last Friday. So at 12:57 p.m., our dispatch received a call for an injured person that had occurred in the bathroom at Magruder High School. This is what we know from the call itself. The call was dispatched at 1:04 p.m. We also know that this call, because it came in as an injured person, initially this was not a call for police. This was a call for fire and rescue, because it was an injured person. Later information determined that this injury would later prove to be a gunshot wound, thus requiring a police response. The first law enforcement officer that was on the scene was a sheriff's deputy, who was the assigned community engagement officer for Magruder High School, who was at a nearby elementary school handling another situation. That sheriff's deputy responded once notified in approximately 7 minutes before he arrived on scene. We believe that fire rescue arrived very shortly thereafter, after the deputy arrived. At the time that fire rescue responded, there was no information, or we actually knew that there was no active shooter incident occurring at the school at that particular time. This is what we know. We know that the shooting did occur in the bathroom. That is confirmed. The shooting did occur in the bathroom. We have information that there was an ongoing dispute between the victim and the shooter. The matter, based upon the information that we've gathered, the matter was predetermined to be settled inside of the bathroom at that particular time. The shooting then, of course, occurs. We then discover that later we discovered this. We didn't know it at the time, but we discovered that there were some students who we believe that possibly were present in the bathroom who began to tweet out that a shooting had occurred, and in fact gave the suspect and the victim's information over Twitter. What we also know is that those very same students did not notify any MCPS staff, nor did they notify 911 that one of their classmates had been shot and was suffering from his wounds in the bathroom. This student was actually located, the victim was actually located during a hall sweep by MCPS school security. During, of course, the change of classes at that particular time. So again, understanding the timeline, at 12:53, school security locates the student. 12:57, another school security assistant arrives along with the school nurse. They arrive in the bathroom. The school nurse makes an assessment, determines that it appears to be a gunshot wound, and calls 911 at that time. She basically goes and finds a kit, a triage kit that is very near to the bathroom, to help deal with and care for the injuries of the young man at that particular time. At 1:05 p.m., the school goes into lockdown, to a full lockdown. And I have also noted to you already about what time that the sheriff's unit responded. After the sheriff's unit gets there, assesses what has happened, working with school security, determines that he needs additional units there to assist him based upon what we know at the time. At that time, MCP units, the first MCPD unit arrives at about 1:33 p.m. that afternoon. Now, at this particular time, I want to make sure everybody understands that we don't know at that time who the suspect is, nor do we know exactly where the suspect is. So these are things happening during the timeline while we have students in lockdown. Through investigative measures and tips, we later determined that the individual who we believe to be the suspect is Stephen Alston Jr. We did additional checks with MCPS through other measures, and we discovered that Mr. Alston Jr. is not in the classroom in which he is supposed to be in. So that, again, creates more problems for us as for an extended amount of time in order to try to determine exactly where is Mr. Alston at that particular time. Through further investigative measures, we are able to determine the location of Mr. Alston Jr. Again, that took some time. We put together our tactical response team in order to locate that particular classroom in which Mr. Alston Jr. was located in, and came up with a strategy in order to best put Mr. Alston into custody without creating any panic, without creating a moment. We wanted to do this as safely as possible, knowing that there were other students and staff inside of that room. That was done without incident. What we discovered at the time that we took Mr. Alston Jr. into custody was that there was the frame of the gun that I believe you see the picture there that is on the screen that is next to the desk leg. The frame of the gun was located on the floor. The slide of the gun was actually located in the suspect's backpack. A magazine, a gun clip, in other words, with ammunition was located in his sock. Even though those parts of the gun were found on him, understand the gun was not operational based upon it being in basically 3 different parts. So again, understanding that the gun was not operable at the time that we took Mr. Alston Jr. into custody. Now I want to talk a little bit about what happened now after we have Mr. Alston Jr. in the custody. The next step was to make sure that we're still identifying and talking to potential witnesses. We still have a crime scene inside of the school. In fact, now we have multiple locations, knowing that we have where we found Mr. Alston Jr. and also knowing that we have the bathroom. But again, we're still trying to put pieces of the puzzle together throughout this entire incident, even though we believe we do have the shooter in custody. We wanted to know who witnessed the incident in the bathroom. We also were going through and reviewing surveillance video with Montgomery County Public School security staff. There was a reason why we were not releasing students at that particular time. We needed to really slow down because we had a very massive area and we had students that were locked down, and we wanted to make sure we're working in consultation with Montgomery County Public Schools to come up with an efficient dismissal plan to release all students in a safe manner and to make sure that they were all accounted for. We needed to know which students were bus riders. We needed to know which students were actually who had driven to school that day and which students were going to be picked up by their parents. So with all of this being said, I want to make sure that everyone understands that this was a ghost gun as we released on Saturday. This ghost gun was actually purchased by the suspect. 3 different parts were literally delivered to his home residence. that this individual then put that gun together and took that gun to Magruder High School on that particular day. So I want to make sure that the understanding about the proliferation of privately manufactured firearms are being purchased by young people in our community. This is not the first time we've seen it, but again, now we've seen where this has had another unfortunate outcome in regards to that. So I wanted to bring that to your attention as well.